Okay, we are on to card 3. Now this is one where I did use the bunny stamp in the set, and so I didn't have to cut anything. I'm trying to find my stamp set. Where did it go? I at the end of all these videos, I'm gonna just show some stuff about the set and the paper, things you can cut, die cut. I did that on a Facebook Live already, so you may have seen it, but I did the biggest bunny, but you could do like the bunny with the little lettuce. You could do the little girl again. If you don't have the stamps, that's where you could either fussy cut or die cut. Well, probably if you don't have the stamps, you don't have the dies, but you could, or you could take it from those cutouts. Like you could take just a different character. Okay, but I'm just going to show you this way. And you can either make this a baby card, welcome little one, or an Easter card. All right. So for DSP, okay, DSP measurements. So for this little top part, we can use one of these little frames we cut earlier. If you think you're going to want that side, you can pull it from a different spot. But I'm going to just use that. And so the width on both pieces is 3.5, and the height, I don't know if I'm saying these the right way, is 1.5. So I'm just going to cut my 1.5, which is right, if you go right up to the dark gray, and 3.5. And it doesn't, you know, if it's a shade under over, that ribbon's going to cover it, so it's not crucial. Oh, look, from that one piece, I can get it for both cards. So you should have plenty of paper left over at the end to make more stuff. Okay, I'm trying to find my cottage DSP. I'm calling it cottage. This is my favorite, I think, of all the paper. I just love that. I don't know why I love it. It's on the back of the garden side, not the vegetable, not the garden pail, but the vegetable. So these, once again, we need 3.5 wide by 3. So you could, I think I'm gonna just cut 3 first. And then look, you got all that left for another project. And guys, I have so many things pinned with this set, even though I'm, you know, it's hard to pick the 4. And I have other things to show you. And I did a blog post already with links to some of the other cards. Now, I know this does not look the right size, but it is. Once we add our frames, it's going to be fine. Okay. So, if you haven't die cut, if you didn't get your frames already die cut for you, then you're going to want to go die cut those. And then your ribbons, you should have one long and one short for each project. Okay, you have your little pink pieces. I'm just dividing up my pieces. I'm only going to do one here with you guys. This is the one that has the most cardstock layers. Okay, so I'm just gonna, actually don't put it to your card yet because we're gonna wrap ribbon around. That is the mistake I make most often in my life. So proud of myself that I didn't do it that time. Okay, so we're gonna stick this layer on our pink. And then we have a little edge all around here. That's how this sizing works. Oh, so really, I don't know. Maybe I did not, maybe that measurement should have been a little bigger. But it's going to be fine because we're going to cover that space. You could cut the green taller, like 1.75, but then you couldn't get to out of that little card. By cutting it at 1.5, we were able to get 2. And maybe I just didn't bring that down enough. Let's find out. Nope, there's a gap. There's a gap, but our ribbon will cover the gap. Okay, so the longer ribbon is for a bow. And I try to not have bends in it, but it doesn't always work out when we package it. I think it was packaged in a different way than I normally do it. Anyway. Apologize if you have bends in your ribbon. I do really try to avoid that, but I had someone new packing this and I don't think I made my, I don't know, maybe it's always like that, but okay. We're gonna put Easter greetings on here, or whichever greeting you want. And this is Petal Pink cardstock, by the way. In case, I don't know, you have a mess up, you can recut some. And I do think I cut this a little wider than what I had, just in case. So you can either leave it like that, or you can trim it down if it's looking too wide. Okay, so we're gonna put this across our gap and tape it on the back. I like to do it this way first while I play around with making it look right, and then I come back and reinforce. So see, I always do this. I don't know why it goes too high, but especially with this card as I'm trying to cover a gap. And then it's not totally necessary to do that, but I just like to make it as flat as possible so that it's not going to lift. I mean, it might still lift, but it's less likely to lift if I have that taped, is my opinion. Might have taped down. Shoot. So then we put that on our card. Then for our little piece, like I said, this is where you could pull one of your little guys and fussy cut instead of stamp. I stamped and colored, and my first ones I stamped in early espresso because in theory they shouldn't bleed, but for some reason my little feet turned pink. Something about my blends mixing with that espresso ink. So this time I did stamp in the Tuxedo Memento Black, and I used dark petal pink on the ears, light calypso on the bow, and then the dark and light on the little body. And I just went around the edges and the furry parts with the dark and filled in with the light. So that's how I colored it. I did do that in the break so that you wouldn't have to watch me. My daughter was talking to her on the phone, so I was like, let me color. Ooh. Once again, this is not the piece that came directly out of here. On our next card, we are going to use the piece that comes directly out. But this is not it. And I know that that glue is not really going to touch that much. And this is, I just cut a rectangle and rounded the tops. Sorry, everyone's calling me and I'm talking. I'm doing a video. What do you need? Are you using the Maybe. Let me finish this. Give me a minute. Okay. Then you're going to pop that up on dimensionals, leaving a little space for your bow. I tried putting it there, but it kept covering his face, and then I wanted my greeting. So Well, I don't know where my dimensionals are at the moment, and my son needs me, so I'm just gonna assume you guys could figure this out. Just put your dimensionals not where the ribbon is, and then I put the greeting with a dimensional on one side and just a little tape there, and then add the bow with a glue dot and add your bling, and that is card 3.